Hi everyone, it's Kate from Awakening Your Abundance Creatively, and I'm just doing some trial and error paintings using fluid painting technique. Now I did, firstly, what I've been trying it on is just an old house tile, like a bathroom tile, kitchen tile. By the way, these are really good palettes. They do, because they're cold, they keep your paint especially acrylic paint. You can sort of work with it a lot easier and longer than if you use the paper plate. The paper plate seems to absorb the liquid, whereas I find the tiles are quite good as well for longevity of your paints, I suppose I'm trying to say. But anyway, so what I've done is I've put some food wrap on there, just your cling wrap. So, just what you wrap your sandwiches in. And I had to play around with it. I did actually record it, but I'm going to do another one because I didn't like the way it turned out. This is the final result that I got. I had too much black in there, I think, but it is still quite interesting. I'm going to have a go at doing something with that and sticking it into my journal. But I just wanted to try with not as much black and some other colours, so I won't show you that tutorial, but it was done the same way as what I'm going to be showing you now, just with different colours. And hopefully we'll get a better technique. So, a better result, I should say. So, just wanted to run through quickly what I use, which is a mix of PVA glue and water to put with my paints. So, for those of you who have done the free tutorial that I have around the Magical Manifesting Journal, which is that one, when I do a lot of the collage, I use this mix that I'm going to put in with the paint, which is 2 parts water to 1 part PVA craft glue. And it I find it, because it sends your glue out, it's a lot easier to do your collage with. And I saw on a tutorial for this liquid fluid painting, you can mix glue and water with your paints. So I've been mixing it with some colours and finding it to be working quite well. So this is, just show quickly, this is another one that I did do. And as you can see, I did get quite a nice technique with that, and that's just on canvas. So that's another way that you could put that into your journal. You could, glue that page in, or you could just cut out shapes or whatnot. But I want to try this tile technique, because you can peel it off the cling wrap quite nicely, and you get a real smooth, shiny effect on the other side. So what I've done, I've got some, so that's pink that I've got, that's a Joe Sonia colour, and I'm hoping you can see it's thickened up a bit how runny that is. I'll just spoon in some more of my PVA mix, my collaging mix. So you sort of want it to be running off your icy pole stick quite freely, sort of like when you warm honey up, that consistency. And I'm thinking maybe too, that other one that I showed you, the darker coloured one, it didn't move as freely as the other. I'm wondering if it's because the tile is cold, whereas the other, the canvas, and that wasn't, but that was gesso too, the canvas. So this is the white. You get it. That's a better consistency. That'll be my base. So I think you can see how freely that runs off. And that's just a cheap paint that I've gotten. Whereas this is an older paint, so I think that's why it's not giving me the consistency that I want. But we'll be able to use that still. And then I've got a purple here, and you can see he runs quite nicely. That's my signature pearl paint. I love the pearl paints. And then I've got a black here. I don't don't think I've mixed that to consistency yet. This was the one I used the other night and it was still pliable. Now when you're mixing your PVA glue with it, you don't really lose that black colour. I thought it would dull it down to a grey, but it really doesn't change that much. Let's get that off my hand. This can be a bit messy too, so don't wear good clothes when you're doing this, I found out. So what I'm showing you, I learnt from my sister the other day, and she's taught herself off YouTube tutorials. So Google fluid painting, and there's so much information out there. I'm still getting Facebook messages from my sister saying, oh, check this video out. She's still finding things. But you can use a product called Flowtech to mix with your paint if you don't want to do the glue technique. But because I'm just sort of playing around and beginner, I didn't want to go and do a heap of outlay because I want to see how it works in my art journaling. If you want to do canvases and you know, coasters and things like that, it might pay to go and get the Flowtech. So this one here I haven't mixed anything with it, so I'll just mix the PVA glue mix with it. So it's probably about 3 good scoops of a teaspoon. That's what that was. We might need some more. And it's really good to experiment with different things, especially if it's what you've already got. So when I found out that I had, you know, a lot of this stuff at home already, I was, yes, I want to do this. Because, I mean, you never know if you love doing something until you've had a go at it. And that is a big cue for manifesting, is doing something that you lose time doing because you're just enjoying yourself so much. And that frees up your mind for worries and any blocks to resistance that you might have to anything else. And then you'll be surprised at the insights that you get later on. That's why I think a lot of the good ideas come when you're in the shower and doing mundane tasks, because your mind sort of wanders, and I know mine wanders when I do this sort of stuff. Okay, so that should be fine. So let's have a go at this and see if we can't get a better outcome. So what I'm going to do, plastic cups are really good for this. Now I've got just a little roasting tray that I can, running out of room, put that over there, get that out the way. So I've got a little roasting tray, and just have 2 cups in your tray, and then you can put your tile on there, and then any runoffs that you may get, I didn't get any on the last lot, will go in the tray, and they peel off quite easily as well. Just quickly, for those other ones that I did, you know, that was one of the runoffs that I got. I really quite like that. All the little patterns that you get, and then you can use them in your journal as well. So I'll leave that there. This will be my mixing cup. I'll probably have a base of white, I think. Just make sure that hasn't thickened up too much. I want to make it a little bit runnier, so it flows easier on the tile, because the more natural flow you get, the better, I think. That's why the other one went a bit, the colours didn't mix as nicely. It's because I was sort of manipulating the tile, putting it on angles. So we'll see how we go with this one. So I'm just going to pour a little bit of my white just to cover the base. Like that. And black. Just put a little bit of the black in. Don't want too much. So you can do drops, or you can do swirls or whatever you might like to do. So do a bit of a swirl. And some pink. And you can do any colour combination. I'm just thinking that, you know, the yellow would probably be nice in there as well with the blue and the pink and the purple. So I'm just going to layer that up again with the white. It's not really layers because it's going through, but still. Just a little bit of the black because that was quite dominant in the other. So you sort of use your intuition a lot with this as well. Now I've used old cups, like cups that I already had colours in, and they've got there's some little lumps in there from leftover paint, so it's probably not ideal, but we'll see how we go. So that's just sort of splashing around. Try the pink next. And I've got a lot more paint this time too than before. Blue. Some white. And just be aware, this is rather addictive to do. Some black. Yeah, there was a big old blob of paint that went in. But you never know, we might start a new trend. All the professionals out there are probably cringing at what I'm doing, but I just wanted to show people that this is a way you can do it if you just want to cut it up and put it in your art journal. Mine is all about the experience and going with the flow of things, because sometimes we take life a little bit too seriously and we need to play, be kind to our inner child and have a go. Okay, that might nearly be enough paint altogether, I think. Now if you do little splodges like I was doing then with the stick, it doesn't seem to go to the bottom like it was before it was disappearing under the other colour, whereas that sort of stays on top, so you might get better mix ratio, if you know what I mean. It won't all, they'll stay separate, which is what we want. But it's all trial and error. Like I said, I've already done one that I didn't like. And if you use, you know, relatively cheap paints, it doesn't really matter. Okay, so now, just getting these out of the way. So I've got, I don't know if you can see how full that is. Oh, that's about that full of paint. I've got my little tray here for any overflows. And what we do is we turn our tile upside down and hold your cup on tight to the tile and then upend, and then leave it. And the longer you leave it, the more paint you will get on your piece. You can sort of see it dripping down. So you know, patience is a virtue. My sister says to go and make yourself a cup of coffee or a cup of tea while it's doing its thing, and then when you've made your cuppa, you can come back and take the cup off and see what happens. So in regards to law of attraction, I find it very similar, that we need to have patience and just let things fall into place. And I know that's one thing I do struggle with, and that's why I created that let go meditation, because, and I find it works really well if I am worried about something working out and I can't get it out of my mind, is just to do that meditation and take your hands off the wheel and let the universe do its job, because we get in the way. I mean, if I took that off straight away, it wouldn't turn out the way I wanted it to. because the colours wouldn't have mixed and fallen into place, whereas doing it this way and just waiting and being patient, and it's all coming together the way we want it to. And then also going with the flow, you know. The universe will give us little nudges along the way. We just have to watch what's going on around us and then tap into our intuition and follow the guidance. So, okay, I think I've waffled on enough. That's a fair bit of painting there, so I'm thinking I'm going to get overflow this time. So let's take this off and see how we go. Here we go. We are going to get overflow. Nice. So I've got a few creases here, so you can try to like get those creases out. And I'm not going to do a lot of manipulating with this one because I want the colours. So I'm thinking that's how I want it to go. So we seem to be on a bit of a lean. I think it's going that way, but I'll just let it go and let it do its thing. And some of the YouTubes that I have watched, you know, the people on there, the artists on there have said to leave it and then come back the next day and it's changed again because it sort of moves until it sets. Sorry, I've got a kitten here attacking my foot. No, you can't come up because I've got paint. So that's that one. I will let it dry for the last one. This one here that I did, I let that dry for 24 hours and it was still a little bit tacky in the middle, but we had a bit of a cold spell here in Australia, so I had the heater on because it's actually summer. I'm in southern Victoria though, which is down the bottom part of Australia, which is cooler than the top end. And yeah, had the heater on and it actually dried over a couple of hours, and I had a ceiling fan going as well. So play around with it and see how you want to dry it. If you do hit it with a hairdryer, it will move, and you can make some really nice ripple effects, but you need to have it on a low setting because yeah, the higher setting is just going to blow all your paint off. So the best way really is to leave it or put it in a warm room where you've got a ceiling fan with just like a gentle breeze going over it. But I'm quite liking that. And I can still see it moving. I'm not sure if you guys can still see it moving. So, alright, well I like that very much with just the little subtle bits of black. I hope you've enjoyed that, and I hope I've helped for the beginners out there who have seen it and would like to give it a go. Experiment. There's so many different ways that you could play around with this. And I will let it dry, and then I will figure out a way to put it into my journal, and I'll show you what I've done. Yeah, so if you do want some updates, you know, head on over to the Facebook group, Awakening Your Abundance Creatively Through Art Journaling Club. It's a bit of a mouthful, but we do have fun over there. I will be doing live tutorials on different aspects of art and moving forward, law of attraction as well. So come over and join us, and we'd love to have you there. So this is Kate from Awakening Your Abundance Creatively. Happy manifesting.